Have you ever heard a no and thought it was game over? Pay attention, because in the next few minutes I'm going to reveal the secret code that transforms any no into an open door to the deepest desire a woman can feel. It's like you'll have access to the instruction manual almost no one knows about. Imagine that female desire is like an orchestra waiting for a conductor. Most men try to play all the instruments at once. Noise, desperation, chaos. You are going to learn how to conduct this symphony in such a way that she'll want to dance to your music herself. Do you know what your biggest problem is right now? You're stuck in beginner mode. When a woman says no or shows initial disinterest, you freeze. You get paralyzed, you give up. It's like a boxer who takes the first punch and immediately throws in the towel. Dude, wake up. The game hasn't even started yet. Every time you give up at the first no, you lose the chance to discover that no was just a test. It was her saying, "Prove you're different from the other 50 guys who tried today." Does that make sense to you? Studies show that 87% of women completely change their minds about a man after the first 5 minutes of conversation. But you never get to 5 minutes. You give up at the first second of resistance. Let me tell you something few men apply. There's a brutal difference between genuine disinterest and protective disinterest. Women have developed this internal radar over thousands of years. It's a defense mechanism. They need to filter the weak from the strong, the desperate from the confident, the boys from the men. When you understand that, the game changes completely. I'm going to teach you the key framework now that transforms any interaction into a magnetic opportunity for connection. There are 5 elements you need to master. Without them, you'll remain invisible. With them, you become irresistible. Can you feel the difference this will make? First element, unshakable confidence. It's not about pretending you're the coolest guy in the world. It's about being absolutely sure of your worth, regardless of her response. When a woman says no and you maintain your genuine smile, your upright posture, and your calm energy, something magical happens in her brain. Her limbic system registers safety. Her prefrontal cortex processes emotional stability. In simple terms, her body perceives that you are neither a threat nor desperate. You are a man who knows what he wants, but doesn't need it to be complete. Always remember that. Last week, a guy approached me saying he got turned down by a woman at work. She said she wasn't interested. He applied exactly what I'm teaching you. He kept his energy high, continued treating her normally, without resentment, without pushing. 3 weeks later, she herself brought up the idea of going out for a drink. See how it works? Second element, humor and lightness. Sexual tension is born from fun, not pressure. When you turn every interaction into a light-hearted game, you remove her armor. It's like disarming a bomb with a joke. Suddenly there's no more danger, only possibility. You need to understand that the female brain processes emotions differently. When you make her laugh, you activate the same neurotransmitters that are released during physical attraction. Dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin. It's pure chemistry happening. But be careful. Don't become the clown of the party. Humor with purpose. Humor with masculinity. Humor that demonstrates intelligence, not desperation for attention. Are you tracking this? Third element, magnetic authenticity. This one is ultra rare. Most men put on a mask when talking to a beautiful woman. They become a different guy. They try to impress, they make up stories, they pretend interest in things they hate. Stop now. When you're radically authentic, you activate her truth detector. Women have an absurd ability to perceive fakery. It's almost supernatural. They sense when you're faking it, and when they do, game over. But when you're genuine, when you talk about your real passions with a sparkle in your eyes, when you admit your vulnerabilities without diminishing yourself, man, that's pure power. I had a client who was addicted to video games. He thought he needed to hide it from women. When he started talking about it with genuine passion, explaining the strategy, the adrenaline, the community, women became fascinated, not by the game itself, but by his passion, by his authenticity. Can you see the paradigm shift? Fourth element, genuine value. I'm not talking about money, I'm talking about substance. What do you bring to the table besides empty compliments and desperate attempts to impress? Do you have interesting hobbies, personal projects, knowledge about something specific, stories of overcoming challenges, unique experiences? Value is about density. It's about having a life worth sharing. When a woman realizes that being with you adds something to her life, The initial no turns into curiosity. Curiosity turns into interest. Interest turns into desire. Pay attention to this crucial detail. Women don't want a man who makes them the center of his universe. They want a man who has an interesting universe and invites them to be a part of it. Brutal difference. Think of it as magnetism. You don't chase the metal. You become the magnet. The metal comes naturally. Does that make sense to you? Fifth element, connective empathy. This is the secret almost no one realizes. It's not about understanding women in general. It's about understanding that specific woman. Each one is a unique universe with particular fears, dreams, traumas, and desires. When you develop the ability to truly listen, not to respond, but to comprehend, you access layers that other men don't even know exist. You stop being just another guy trying something. You become the guy who truly sees her. Active listening is a lost art. When she talks about her stressful job, you don't change the subject to talk about yours. You ask how it affects her sleep. When she mentions a childhood dream, you don't judge. You explore. It's this dance of minds that creates real connection. Now comes the part no one tells you. Her initial no can mean several things. It could be a test. It could be protection. It could be bad timing. It could be wrong energy. It's rarely definitive rejection. I'll give you a practical example. You're at that coffee shop, ambient music, the smell of fresh coffee in the air. You see her on her phone, maybe working, maybe just passing time. You approach with calm energy and make an observational comment about something in the environment. Not about her, about the environment. She responds dryly, briefly, without looking you in the eyes. 90% of men interpret this as disinterest and bail. You don't. You maintain the energy, make another light observation, perhaps with a touch of humor. If she remains closed off, you politely say goodbye and leave. But you plant a seed, a smile, a positive energy. The next time you cross paths, and you will, if it's an environment you frequent, the dynamic will already be different. She's already processed your confidence, your non-neediness, your value. See the play? Let me tell you about the concept of emotional momentum. The female brain needs time to process attraction. It's not an on-off switch. It's more like a campfire you gradually feed. Every positive interaction adds a twig. Every demonstration of value increases the flame. Every moment of genuine connection blows oxygen into the fire. Suddenly, what was a spark turns into a blaze of desire. But you need patience. You need consistency. You need strategy. Are you feeling the power of this? Now I'm going to tell you about the hidden signs you need to learn to read. Because yes, she might be saying no with her mouth, but her body could be saying maybe. Dilated pupils. Even in a well-lit environment. It means her brain is processing interest, even if consciously she hasn't admitted it yet. Feet pointed in your direction while her body is turned away. Internal conflict between wanting and resisting. She plays with her hair while talking to you but says she has to go. Her nervous system is activated. There's attraction happening there. She laughs at your comments but says she's not looking for anything. The laughter is involuntary. It's her body responding despite her mind resisting. These signs are your treasure map. But here's an important warning. It doesn't mean insisting when she clearly doesn't want to. It means understanding that the game has nuances. It has layers. It has possibilities beyond black and white. Can you differentiate a definitive no from a not yet kind of no? A definitive no comes with a closed-off body, a total absence of positive signals, an energy of repulsion. Respect that and leave. A not yet comes with mixed signals, neutral or curious energy, small openings in the conversation. It's in those not yets that the magic happens. I'm going to share a technique with you that I call intermittent presence. It's almost unfair how effective it is. You show up, generate a positive interaction, and disappear before she fully processes it. Next time, same thing. And again, and again. Her brain starts to anticipate your presence. It starts to process your absence. Suddenly you occupy a mental space that didn't exist before. She thinks about you when you're not there. She wonders why you didn't push like the others. It's applied behavioral psychology. You know what else? This works because you're not faking disinterest. You genuinely have a life beyond her. You show up because your path crosses hers, not because you're chasing her. Huge difference. Now pay close attention to what I'm about to say. There's a window of opportunity in every interaction. It's the moment when the energy is right, the connection is flowing, and you need to act. If you miss that window due to fear or insecurity, you might not get another chance. How do you identify this window? She's investing in the conversation, asking questions, laughing genuinely, touching your arm, even briefly, mentioning something about the future, even casually. It's at that moment you suggest something. Don't ask. Suggest. We should grab coffee sometime. It would be nice to continue this conversation more calmly. You should check out that place I mentioned. Suggestion, not a plea. Invitation, not an imploration. Catch the difference? And if she says no at that moment, you smile and say, "No problem, it was nice talking," and you continue your life. But the seed is planted. The door is ajar. The possibility exists. I'm going to reveal something to you that behavioral psychologists have known for decades, but few men apply. The human brain values what it can lose more than what it can gain. It's called loss aversion. When you demonstrate that you have value but aren't desperate to give that value to her, you activate this mechanism. She starts to question if she's losing something important, if she's letting a unique opportunity pass by. That's why men with options are more attractive. It's not the money. It's the feeling that if she doesn't act, someone else will take advantage. It's primitive competition. It's natural selection in action. But be careful. It's not about pretending to have options. It's about genuinely building a life where you have options, developing yourself to the point where you genuinely don't need that specific woman to be happy. Paradoxically, it's when you don't need them that they want you most. Does that make sense? There's another fundamental concept you need to understand. It's called frame control. It's about who defines the reality of the interaction. Most men enter her frame. "Oh, you're not interested? Sorry to bother you." No, you maintain your frame. "You're not interested yet, but you will be when you get to know me better." Not with those words, with your energy, with your posture, with your unshakable certainty. It's subtle, but powerful. Let me give you a real example of how this works in practice. You find her in a bookstore. She's in the self-help section. You comment something about the paradox of looking for help in books when the answers are usually found in action. She responds defensively, saying that books do help. The average man backs down, apologizes. You don't. You smile and say she's right. Books can be the first step, but the second step is always more interesting. You planted curiosity. You created tension. You demonstrated that you don't back down at the first sign of resistance. This is the dance, advance and retreat. Tension and release, interest and mystery. Can you visualize that? Now let's talk about the elephant in the room. Isn't this manipulation? Listen, manipulation is when you deceive someone to get what you want at their expense. What I'm teaching you is personal development that makes you naturally more attractive. It's about being the best version of yourself. You're not lying. You're not deceiving. You're not forcing. You're simply understanding how attraction works and positioning yourself in the best possible way. It's like learning the rules of the game instead of playing in the dark. Every woman wears makeup, chooses flattering clothes, learns to communicate more effectively. Is that manipulation? No. It's optimization. It's strategy. It's social intelligence. You're doing the same thing. Pay attention now, because I'm going to reveal the fatal error that destroys your chances before they even begin. Scarcity mindset. When you approach a woman as if she's the last woman on earth, as if your happiness depends on her response, you project desperation. And desperation is the biggest repellent there is. Women are attracted to men who choose them, not who need them. Crucial difference. When you need, you're in the inferior position. When you choose, you're in the position of power. How do you change that? Real abundance. Not faked. Real. You develop multiple interests. Build a rich social circle. Work on projects you're passionate about. Develop hobbies that fulfill you. Suddenly, a woman saying no isn't the end of the world. It's just one person choosing not to be part of your incredible journey. And ironically, it's exactly when you reach that point that they stop saying no. Catch the play? There's a technique I call strategic vulnerability that I want to share. It's about showing your human side without appearing weak. It's about revealing challenges you've overcome, not problems that define you. Instead of hiding your scars, you show them like medals. That time you failed in business, but learned valuable lessons. The relationship that ended but taught you what truly matters. the fear you conquered to be where you are today. This creates deep connection. It shows that you're real, not a character, but always from a position of strength. You overcame, you grew, you evolved. Women are attracted to journeys, not destinations. Are you processing this? Now I'm going to teach you about emotional timing. Not every moment is the right time to advance. If she's just ended a relationship, if she's stressed with work, if she's in a moment of personal reflection, your conquest energy might be rejected not because of who you are, but because of when you appeared. How do you identify the right timing? You pay attention to the clues she gives. Does she mention being in a moment of personal discovery? Be the interesting friend first. Does she talk about being tired of relationships? Don't push for one. Offer lightness. It's about reading the field and playing accordingly, but always keeping your intention clear. You're not her gay friend, friend-zoned. You're an interested man who respects her moment. Huge difference. Do you perceive the subtlety? Let's talk about the power of calculated mystery. You don't give everything away at once. You don't tell your entire life story on the first date. You don't reveal all your cards in the first conversation. Each interaction should leave her wanting more. Curious. Intrigued. It's like a TV series that ends each episode with a cliffhanger. She needs the next episode. She needs to know how it continues. How do you do that? You mention something interesting and change the subject. You start a story and say you'll tell her another time. You make an intriguing comment and smile mysteriously. It's not about being falsely mysterious. It's about understanding that anticipation is more powerful than satisfaction. Her brain will work to fill in the gaps. And what she imagines is usually more interesting than reality. Use that to your advantage. Does that make sense to you? Now, an advanced concept, positive polarization. It's about not being afraid to create small frictions. Agreeing with everything she says is boring. Respectfully challenging some of her ideas creates tension. And tension is the secret ingredient of attraction. She says she hates sports. You say she just hasn't found the right sport yet. She says she doesn't like spicy food. You suggest she's afraid to step out of her comfort zone. Always with a smile, always light, never aggressive. It's that friction that generates a spark. Remember, two identical magnets repel each other. Opposites attract. Don't be her mirror. Be her complement. Can you apply this? I'm going to reveal the technique of progressive investment now. It's about getting her to gradually invest in the interaction. The more she invests, the more she values it. It's basic psychology. We value what costs us effort. Start small. Ask her to hold something quickly. Ask for her opinion on something. Ask for a suggestion for a place. Every small yes paves the way for bigger yeses. It's the principle of consistency in action. Her brain wants to be consistent. If she said yes to small things, it becomes harder to say no to bigger things, but always with calibration, always respectful, always reading the signs. Do you see the pattern? Now let's get straight to the point about sexual energy without being vulgar, attraction without being invasive, desire without being disrespectful. It's about subcommunication, your gaze that holds for an extra second, your smile that suggests without speaking, your proximity that creates tension without invading. It's a dance of energies where you lead, but she chooses to follow. When you master this, words become secondary. The real communication happens in the unspoken, in the space between words, in the electricity of the air. But this requires practice. It requires calibration. It requires sensitivity to read when to advance and when to retreat. Are you feeling this energy? I'm going to share the concept of reverse qualification. Instead of you trying to qualify yourself for her, you get her to qualify herself for you. But subtly, without arrogance. You mention that you value women who read. She'll mention the books she's read. You say you admire people with their own passions. She'll talk about her passions. You're defining the terms, leading the dance. It's pure power disguised as casual conversation. And when she qualifies herself, you acknowledge it. Validate it, but without exaggeration, as if she's met your standard, not exceeded your expectations. It keeps her investing. It keeps her proving herself. Get the inversion? Now the final and most powerful concept, outcome independence. It's about genuinely not caring about the specific outcome of that interaction. Does that sound contradictory? You want to win her over, but you don't care if you do? Exactly, because when you don't care, you act naturally, without pressure. without desperation. And that's exactly what attracts. It's the ultimate paradox of attraction. The less you need, the more you get. The less you chase, the closer they get. How do you develop this? You have to have a life so rich, so complete, so interesting, that a woman saying yes or no is just a detail, not the main event. That's real magnetism. Now pay very close attention because I'm going to close the loop. Remember the metaphor of the orchestra conductor. You don't force the instruments to play, you create the conditions for the music to happen. You provide the rhythm, the energy, the direction, but each instrument chooses to participate. When you understand this deeply, when you internalize these concepts I've shared, you stop being the guy who tries. You become the guy who attracts. You stop chasing. You start selecting. Her no is no longer rejection. It's information. It's feedback. It's sometimes even an invitation to play better. How many opportunities have you already missed because you didn't know what I just revealed? How many amazing women have passed through your life while you were stuck in amateur mode? Don't let this continue. Don't let another day pass without applying this knowledge. Because while you hesitate, other men who understand the game are living the dating life you dream of. This knowledge I've shared is the key that few men truly master. It's what separates the men who choose the women they want from the men who accept the scraps they get. You decide which side you want to be on. If this made sense to you, if it opened your mind to possibilities you didn't even know existed, do this now before you forget. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, share it with that friend who needs to hear this. Because knowledge without action is just entertainment, and you didn't come here to be entertained. You came here to transform your dating life. The orchestra is waiting for your command. Women are waiting for a man who understands the dance. The question is whether you'll remain seated in the audience or step onto the stage and conduct your symphony. The choice has always been yours.